Jungkook's vampire reality was hidden. But he started getting weak day by day. He was locked in the room, chain that was they are tied to his hand and feet at his command. He was an animal. He hated himself. There was in his thoughts all the time. Queen cannot see her son pain and made another decision. She took all responsible person in confidence and asked to arrange the blood for Jungkook. Everyone wanted to leave their king. They couldn't watch Jungkook die, so they keep the secret a secret and arrange animal blood for Jungkook in order to search for the devil who changed his kind son to become a devil. Blood was arranged but failed to find Suga. He was a vampire, powerful vampire, so it was impossible to catch him. When Jungkook saw blood, he didn't accept it, said that he wasn't an animal, but then he drank that like an animal. His mother crying after seeing all this. She was a very brave woman, but she was also a mother. But she was satisfied that now her only child would at least not be weak and alive. But how long was this going to last? On the other hand, Suga, vampire, who could do anything for them, he is still doing his mission and drinking Geo Kingdom people blood. Every day in the dark night, he would drink every single drop of blood and started to reduce the population of Jeong Kingdom. By the time this news spread, Suga has done his job and suddenly disappeared. And then another game began. New spread King Jungkook was no longer human. He was a blood-sucking beast. He is vampire. Son, soon elders suggest Queen to send Jungkook somewhere. But the Queen was not ready for this. On the other hand, Namjoon went further in his goal and spread the news of Jungkook became a vampire in different countries. Not only that, he told many people to cut off the connection with Jeon Kingdom, on which many countries agree and the government of many countries banned their people from going there. And as a result of this, people from Jeon Kingdom stopped doing business and people started moving somewhere. And Kims took advantage of it. Slowly, Namjoon took his country to number one in the world. The year was past, and Jeon Kingdom was a place of peace. Now there were pain, and the queen could not bear all this. She started getting sick. Jungkook, who had now become a complete beast, began to drink human blood. He was hungry and weak. One day he was chained and hungry. Suddenly the door opened and servant entered. He was hungry. He could not bear it. When he smelled blood of human, he fell to the floor. The servant got worried and approached him, and then Jungkook attacked him, and for the first time, he drank human blood. When the queen got this news, she could not bear it. All the elders decided to send Jungkook away from the kingdom. When Jungkook realized what he had to do, he started to hate himself. He went far, far away from his palace, his people. He was not dead, he was alive, he was human, it was not animal. He had nothing but empty-handed. He hid away from his kingdom, away from his mother. Namjoon wanted to see Jeon around, but he had to prove himself good in the world, so he decided to buy Jeon kingdom. Queen, who was probably taking her last breaths, her son was gone. She herself was weak. There was no heir to this land. People who are deep still with her, but unfortunately, she was dying. She was slowly dying. So she sold her land to games. Time passed and people began to return there, but the people of Jeon Kingdom are now poor and the game's people become rich. Other side, Taekook, who was at their grave. He remembered months ago Tara died in his arms. He remembered how Tara hates him. He remembered her last breath. He remembered every moment. He remembered how Tara missed her husband. He remembered everything. He was regretted now. He knew how his father destroyed the smiling empire, but it was his own fault. He did all this because of his lust. But now he changed after Tara's death. He wanted to accept his sin, but he was scared. Tara, who could not bear the pain of her unborn child's death, she died. And Jungkook, who still lives in his wife's memories. He is a vampire but has a human heart. Taehyung was sitting in his chamber, no longer drank alcohol, did not spend night with girls. He was now a 31-year-old responsible person. Jungkook, who was now a full vampire, his loneliness was his pain. He remembered how he used to celebrate Dad's birthday. Today was Jungkook's father, late King Jeon's birthday, and it's also public holiday. But this time it was not a celebration. Everyone was praying for King Jeon Jungkook's health. They knew Jungkook was sick. Everyone thought the king was still undergoing treatment away from the palace, so they prayed. On the other hand, Jungkook was living alone on the mountain. He was empty-handed. He was sad. This was his life. Where was his love? His mother was away from him. Where was his child? He didn't know anything. He knew nothing. He was no longer human. He was now a blood-drinking creature. He was hungry. In front of him was a deer. He held it in his hand and dug his teeth into his neck. Eyes dark red. Mouth was veiled with blood. He was very hungry. He wanted warm blood, and my blood was not giving him power. He needed human blood, but he was not a devil. He was not an animal. He could not drink the blood of his empire. So he closed his eyes and started drinking the warm blood of an animal. Days went. Jungkook slowly started to weak. He wanted fresh human blood. On the other hand, Prince Taehyung and Vampire Jimin reached Jeon Kingdom. He and Jimin turned toward the mountain. But before leaving, they spent one day in Jeon Kingdom. But it was not that kingdom. Life was different here now. There was no joy like before. Jeon Kingdom had changed now, and he was feeling sad. He was also responsible for it. He forced his father. He knew Namjoon was stubborn. He knew his father hates Jeon Kingdom. He knew Namjoon would do anything to win. And he, knowing all this, he forced his father and brother to take control of Jeon Kingdom. He ordered Suga to bring Terra to him. Jungkook was a vampire because of him. Terra was dead today because of him. So he decided that he would now accept his sin in front of Jungkook and face his punishment. I know I have to face it, Jimin. I have to confess my sin. But it's dangerous there. He can even kill you. I knew everything. There, he loved his people. He loved his wife. He not innocent, Jungkook. He dangerous now. I don't have to think anymore, Jimin. Now let's go. It's my order. Vampire Jimin saw him and then start walking to complete his order. After about half a day, when evening started falling, they reached the place where Jungkook lived. He lived here. I have seen him here. But there is silence, Jimin. Jimin looked around. He must have gone to look for food. Let go. We come tomorrow. Jimin, you can leave now. What? His vampire friend was surprised by this. You go, Jimin. I stay here. No, I can't leave you alone. No, no one can stop me. You go, Jimin. But there, it's dangerous. This is my order, Vampire Park, Jimin. After that, Jimin went silent. He could not say anything. He was sad. For the first time, he looked at them. And for the first time, he hugged them. They cried, but he had to get rid of this pain. His father made a mistake. Obey him. He remembered their smiling face, her smiling eyes, Jungkook's smiling face. When he saw them together for the first time, he saw them happy and smiling. He wished he didn't kidnap Tara. If only he could control himself. He wished he would do something good. Jimmy looked at him last time, then he flew away and left behind, scared, alone, Taehyung, who was going to accept all his sins tonight.